Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Suresh Kumar Agarwal ji, our Chief Guest of the day, Professor Subroto Datta ji, Director Research, and Dr. Vivek, who is my course co-coordinator. Welcome, a warm welcome to all of you to this concluding session of the 15-day coursework on research methodology and computational skills. This course it is run in a centralized teaching way with the objective of streamlining the learning process, integrating specialized expertise, and providing the participants with a cohesive learning experience across all the modules. The course started with basic foundational sessions on what is research, its scope, innovativeness, followed by discussions on what is research design, characters of a good research, how to formulate a problem, collect data, literature, write reviews, reports, presenting them, followed by lectures on sampling designs, data collection, data analysis, statistical analysis, presentations, softwares, and how to use them in reference management and data analysis like Python, R, GIS-based softwares. And also, the students were made aware of the UGC regulations and the resources that UGC provides. And finally, the IPR. Lectures were delivered in 1.5-hour modules, covering nearly 60 hours of study of the coursework, and were delivered by experts from the fields and researchers from Central University, IASRI, Delhi, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, and experts from our own university. Ms. Chanchal Kumari from chemistry has topped the exam.
चंचल मैथ्स में नहीं है, केमिस्ट्री में नहीं है,
मैथमेटिक्स में है शायद।
हाँ
मैथमेटिक्स में है, हाँ।
कहाँ पे हो? कोटपुतली से हो। यहाँ क्यों आए रिसर्च करने? जयपुर में एडमिशन नहीं हुआ? अच्छा, वहाँ पे नहीं तो वहाँ से यहाँ टीचिंग क्यों? यहाँ क्यों रिसर्च करना है? यूनिवर्सिटी अच्छा लगा कि वहाँ एडमिशन नहीं हुआ?
कॉलेज में है होगी सर।
ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है, वहाँ पर एडमिशन नहीं हुआ। एक्चुअली जो रिसर्च एरिया यहाँ पे ऑपरेशन रिसर्च वो मेरा थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है जो यहाँ पे है, तो फिर
this is simply a query, right? This is not a, I'm not putting a question or your competence. Thank you so much. Love that you. Honorable Days, comprising Professor Datta, Professor Bhatnagar, Vivek ji, and all of you. There is a paradox, and let me begin with paradox. And the paradox is nobody but me itself, in the sense that I wanted to come over here, and in the very first session when Madam called me here, and you were made to listen to me, I said that I would love talking to you, but I failed to take any class. Even in the morning when I came, I thought that I would do something here. And I prepared a chart also, that I would be talking about the Indian research system. The chart flew that was with me. But again, a bundle of meetings, this is what a Vice Chancellor usually does. Right? So I cannot be an exception to it. And it is for this reason that I may not be able to speak much. But then there are certain things which I would like to talk about. Dear friends, when we talk about research, and I usually say that research is a sort of double AS, and in Hindi we call it AS. And this first A stands for academic, the second A stands for aspirational, and the third one societal. And when you combine all the three, it really becomes your research work. When the component, academic component, is missing from the research, it cannot be called a research at all. When you are doing a research, there are certain components, the policy makers and all the other people, they do have some aspirations, including your own aspirations. And they think that in some or the other way, the aspirations would be complete. And the third one is societal, which talks about the application part of the research work. Dear friends, I talked about my article that was published long back in the inaugural session also, and I said I wrote an article at that time, and the title of the article was Research for Whom. It was published in the Times of India in 1993. At that time, even India dominated as far as carrying on the research work is concerned. But then I put a question in that article itself, research for whom? We are carrying out a number of research work, but the multitude of the problem remains the same. The magnitude of the problem has not diminished. So what is the utility of such a research work? So when we talk about a genuine research work, of course, as I said, aspirational aspect is there, and that has to be there, because if that is missing, we cannot carry out the research work at all. But at the same time, we should not lose sight of the fact that without fulfilling the societal expectations, a research work cannot be considered complete. And when I talk about these societal applications, I am talking about the way your research work will benefit the society in total. And when I talk about the society in total, I talk about the political component, I talk about the economic component, I talk about the scientific temper, I talk about all the things which are related to the ecosystem of this universe. Therefore, dear friends, if you look at the ecosystem of research in this country, it has undergone a tremendous change in the last 23 years. Why did I say last 23 years? Because if you are aware, some very important thing happened before 23 years. I am not going to talk about, you just recollect what was it. But then the ecosystem has changed, no doubt about it. And what is the ecosystem now? We are number 3, if you are aware of it. Globally, we are number 3 in producing the research work. So in the quantity, we are increasing. The increasing multitudinous, no doubt about it. But what about the quality component? The quality component has drastically gone down. And therefore, we need to look into it. What are the factors that has degraded the level of the research in this country? And if you look at the regions, there are several. But then as an academic, I would be talking about the way you and I carry out the research, why the level of the research. Sometimes you have to do the research despite your will, because you are afraid that you will be getting the job only after having your Ph.D., having done your Ph.D. Or maybe that your API will be very less. So this matrix has become a problem. And therefore, perhaps all of us, whether we have got that temper or not, we would like to do the research. But I don't say that you don't have the temper, but I am talking about the things in general. And that makes us somehow, I have to collect some 200 pages, 300 pages, put them together with the signature, beautiful signature of my supervisor, and submit to the research section somehow to get a degree, so that I may be able to get a good job in the long run. So this matrix has become a problem. Then the other problem is, I talked about the paradox that related to me, but then there is another paradox also, open access paradox. Open access paradox, it is usually said that open access has democratized the researches, and therefore everybody can have access to any research nowadays. But then what the people are doing? They are encashing a lot of money, a lot of paisa from the people to give them a space in their journal. And therefore the research becomes non-affordable for the people, especially the genuine researcher and the people who come from the countryside. Now we need to find out a solution to this problem. On the one hand, in the name of democratization, what we are doing, we are stopping the genuine researchers to to provide so that they may put their article in the open access journal because they don't have the money to spend. And therefore we need to make a resolution in the sense to find a solution to the problem. And when we talk about the solution of the problem, we would say that we would do certain things. And what are those certain things? Even if you have a look at the researches, the prestigious research journals of the world, you will find that still, if you try to find out the name of your own country, you will find that somewhere you have to begin from the below. And maybe that from the below, it will be some third, fourth position that India would be occupied. I do not say, do you think that India is doing only that much? And therefore, dear friends, we need to develop our own metrics of evaluation. Who evaluate us now? They evaluate and they decide the parameters. They say that this is good and this is bad. Who are they to say so? Let us develop our own parameters to evaluate a research work. But at the same time, those parameters must emanate from your own background, from your own country parameters. And when I talk about the country parameters, I talk about the parameters of national pride that made this country very great in the past also. If you look at the researches that were conducted in the past, they were voluminous and qualitative researches. What was the base of it? Have you ever thought of it? How did Maharshi laws come into being? A person of chemistry can very well answer this question. Can we imagine the confluence of chemistry at that time? Even we don't think about it. Why? Because they give us the parameters to evaluate and then we decide to work on the parameters that they have given to us. We need to do away with this and develop our own system of research so that we can really analyze, we can really reach the root of the problem and thereby can produce the real jnana. I prepared a chart also, but unfortunately I don't have the time. And if I start talking about it, other people would be talking about it. Otherwise, I would explain that chart. जब हम हमारे यहाँ की बात करते हैं, we begin with curiosity. But if you go to the West, they talk about inquiry. There is a lot of difference between the two. When we talk about the second stage, we talk about what are the queries. They talk about what are the questions. And there is a lot of difference when we talk about query and when we talk about questions. Because the very reason that every question needs to be answered very concretely. And as our forefathers believed, no research can be carried out in components. They cannot be compartments. I am doing research in chemistry, still we are doing it. But do you think that the research in chemistry is confined only to chemistry? And of course the answer would be no, a big no. It covers almost every aspect of science. And not only every aspect of science, in some or the other way, the other aspects of life also. So we need to follow that parameters of interdisciplinarity. I tell you, the world is looking towards us. Still, the world looks towards us. Go to America, go to any other country. Who is running their country? We people are running their country. And they are optimistic only that the answer would come from the country like India, and the burden lies on the shoulders of the researchers like you. That you will bear the torch and carry the country forward. Thank you so much for calling me here, to the desk also, to Datta Sahab also, and to Bhatnagar Sahab also, and to all of you. And my big apology that I could not make it here, otherwise I would have really relished and enriched myself from the jnana that I would have received from you. Thank you so much.